This is George. Well, you should introduce yourself.
Well, yes, this is George Barnes, and I think I have an interesting story for the simple reason I'm a hairdresser and a cook and a male. But it didn't all start like that. It's just that right out of high school, I moved to Chicago. Big city like Chicago. I'd never been in a big city, being from Mississippi, moving to Memphis for a short span of time. Graduated from high school, fed up with Memphis, ready to go. Went to Chicago, met these friends that were all hairdressers. I love their lifestyle. I used to go in the salon to get my nails done because image was everything to me at that age.
Yeah.
That young, I cared a lot about style, and I just liked the environment that they created, and they were all men, and
That was cool.
and that I was impressed with men doing a female thing, and I was getting ready to do it just before I started to get involved with it from a technical aspect. I got drafted into the service. Didn't want to go. Called my mom. I said, Mom, would you please tell him I defected and moved to Canada? She said, baby, you know I can't do that. So I tried it one more time. I said, Mom, please do that for me because I don't want to do that. It's a war going on, and I'm afraid of that kind of thing. So she said, well, baby, I'm sorry. I just can't do that. My religion just won't let me do that. So I had to surrender. So I came back to Memphis, went down to the draft board or whatever, signed up, went into the service. And going to the service, I started out at Fort Campbell, Kentucky for basic training. And in basic training, what caused me to be a cook was I had astigmatism in my eyes. So when I went to the rifle range, I failed. So that's how I got to be a cook. So they sent me to a cook. I went to cook school in Arizona, Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Way out in the desert, close to Mexico. And went to cook school. From cook school, they sent me to my duty station. First was Germany, processed out of Germany to Vietnam. Vietnam is Southeast Asia, a long ways. So I don't want to talk a lot about the war because it's a lot of good stories, but a lot of bad stories. The good stories was I met all these incredible, talented people, especially the kids. I was so impressed with the kids at a young age, how they never had a chance to be kids because they were grown early on because all they do was hustle and make money. But they were so creative and so talented, so it had an effect on me. And being a cook, I love the way they eat because they ate mostly vegetables. They was like vegetarians and shrimp and stuff like that. So after that, the war, I spent 13 months in Vietnam. My most unfavorable time was the monsoon season when it just rained for days and days and days and days. 115-degree heat, just unbearable. But I never took my eye off the prize. So I said that I missed one important thing because once I came back to Memphis to enter into the draft, I had a girlfriend, and she was pregnant, and she wanted to go to college. In order for her to go to college back then, she would have to be married. So I got married before I went to service. So while I was in service, we had a daughter, okay? I didn't see my daughter until I came home, but I'm going back and forth. But while I was over there, I never took my eye off the prize. So I wanted to be a hairdresser because I just kept the vision in my mind that these people that I met in Chicago just had an astounding impact on me. And then maybe it kept me alive because I was constantly thinking about what's going to happen afterwards. Never thinking about I could die any day. But sure enough, came back to Memphis. Everybody had all these jobs lined up for me to go on interviews or whatever, to be a responsible parent, new baby, girl. I said, I don't want none of that. I said, I'm going to be a hairdresser. So everybody in my family thought I was crazy because no man was doing that at that time. And especially, I went to an all-white academy, and they really thought I was crazy then. But I went to school, beauty school, but it was turbulence in the marriage, so we ended up getting a separation, okay? So once I finished school, I was kind of like, when you come out of war and you're trying to reconnect yourself with society or whatever, war is it has a resounding impact on you mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm not saying I was crazy, but couldn't stand no stress. So
Fair
going
enough.
to beauty school was good for me because I was really scared of it because doing women's hair, that's their glory, and you can't mess around with the hair. Just like I just got through doing yours.
Just did mine. Beautiful.
You have to know what you're doing. So, but I think I was a pretty good student because I really had a passion for it and I wanted to do it. So after I graduated, got my license, I said, well, let me go back to Chicago. So I moved back to Chicago. I left my child, left my marriage. It was not good, very ugly. Divorce came, ugly, ugly, ugly. Chapter in my life that I'm not proud of because I was really wild. I mean, really, 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 really wild. But I'm not going to go into detail about the wildness, okay? But the passion about being a hairdresser, I think saved my life because to do that business, you have to commit yourself, you have to dedicate yourself, and you have to be determined if that's what you really, 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 really want. So I worked there for about a year, year and a half. And after that, I said, well, I was homesick. I wanted to see my family because I hadn't spent enough time with them since I was out of the war because everybody was upset because I left home and left my family, whatever. So I was trying to mend those fences. So I came back to Memphis and worked a little while. Then I got my first salon in 1974, 73. And I had an integrated salon, the first one in Memphis. So I have a lot of history. I went to an integrated school. I integrated a school.
Just to clarify, integrated like anyone could go to the
What's all black? What's all white?
so integrated
So
racially.
I integrated. It was
assumed.
racially integrated.
Yeah, I
I
assumed
opened the
that.
first integrated salon. It was in this White Haven area too.
That's so cool.
And the managers my owners was white, me being black, so that was integrated. And then the staff was integrated, and the clientele was integrated. So we did that. Then some stuff happened, but I'm not gonna go into that. Some stuff happened because I'm still wild, and and they burned it down. So when they burned that salon down, then I opened up another salon that was all black. So I created a male staff at the next salon, and it ran for years and years and years. So in saying all of that, I stayed in connection with the people in Chicago. The people that owned the salon in Chicago was from Atlanta, Georgia. So I was the first to move the salon. Talk of the Town was the name of it. I moved it from Chicago to Memphis. Then they decided they was gonna go back home, so they moved it from Chicago to Atlanta. So we was operating salons in Memphis and salons in Atlanta. And I was back and forth from Memphis to Atlanta. But my passion was to go to LA, just like his. And that's why I really wanted to go. So I had some girlfriends that was a singer. One was, she sang with Ray Charles for a while. She was a Raylette. So I kind of sent her out as a point girl to survey the area. So I was back and forth from LA. I really wanted to stay out there, but life had Memphis written all over for me because the women here was fascinating. And they needed me worse than the people in California because there's a lot of good people in California. So I ended up staying here doing the business, and I owned a salon for 40-some years.
That is awesome.
So it's a lot of more stuff because the salon here meant that in order to sustain yourself in a salon, you have to reinvent yourself. Probably for me it was every 5 years. I'd do something different because you're gonna hit that wall, and you could just become a nobody overnight if you don't just constantly stay competitive. And so I incorporated a wife, another wife, and we had a son, and that's my son I was showing you, my grandchildren.
Oh.
So he's in Nashville now. So she passed, and her sister passed. So her sister was a receptionist. I taught her to be a hairdresser. So it was a family business. We did really, really well. But when I lost them, then a lot of other things happened. So right now I end up in the Southland Mall. So really I'm like making a full circle because I started my career right up the street on Chevy Drive at Hodge. And I worked there, and I left there and went to the Windsor community. So I've been all over the place, really. But my travels is all over the world because I work for this company, like this one I got on right now, this Let's Jam. I broke this brand #1 because I work for that company called Image Laboratory out of Los Angeles, California.
Wow.
And we went all over the world, London, Paris, England, all over United States, New York, Florida, Miami, wherever, you know. But I got tired of that travel because they was getting those budget tickets and getting into cities late at night and early in the morning for the company to save money. So I just got tired. So when I settled down and put all of my emphasis and efforts into my salons, then life just got really good, and it's still good.
Yay!
So that's kind of a synopsis of my story. Really.
I
I got a lot of stuff that I didn't tell y'all, but I ain't gonna tell
That was a
y'all.
lot. That was so